So still plodding along on the Japanese tank. I've done a pin wash with oil paint. I used sepia. I'm not convinced yet, but try new things and push on. So I'm not finished yet. I'll do some more to it, but I'll see how where I end up with it. But I think it's a bit much at the moment, but see how I go as I push it along further and what I end up with. The next step that I'm doing is just a bit of an enamel wash, light rust. That's enamel brand. I'll just put a bit in my bowl here, and I'm just micro brush, just going over some of the chipping I did, just lightly, just in some areas, just adding another color and depth to the model. So yeah, I'll do the turrets next, and then I'll decide what I'm going to do after that to it. Alright, I used a bit of Tamiya buff, heavily thinned. I've airbrushed random around to simulate dust. It's hard to pick up. I've done it very subtly. Painted up the figure, and this ain't nothing special. Like I've mentioned before, I only paint figures. It's going to show the scale of the vehicle, and I just do enough to get by, I guess. It's the best I can do, and I'm happy with that. I'll never be a figure painter, I know that, but I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. And also, just messing around, I've got a piece of, or it's a chopstick. I got a chopstick and some of this 2-part epoxy putty, and I roll it up, round it, roll it out like that, and then I just pushed into it with a, I don't even remember what I used now. I made something up to push into it. So I'm just trying to simulate a palm tree trunk, and I'm going to tie it onto the vehicle at the end of the build, just adding something to it. I feel like it needs something. I thought of stowage, but in all seriousness, a thing this big, I'm sure there's plenty of room inside. They don't need to be hanging stuff on the outside of it. So that's just something little I did. Alright, next step of my weathering. I'm using, okay, this is Ammo MIG again. It's a Nature Effects series, I guess you call it. This one's Light Dust. It's a enamel wash. It's pretty runny. Well, this time I'm just using this brush, and I'm just going to put it on the bottom edge. Randomly. Alright, and then from there I got just some white spirit, a clean brush, and just going to work it upwards to thin it out. Like that. And so on, so forth around the tank. If you're not happy with that when you're doing it, well, you can just take it off with some more white spirits. Oh, we're getting messy now. So the wash I did on the side is dried. Happy with that, how that turned out. I used a darker color, loose ground, and I used the old needle, my airbrush and a brush, and flicked it, put the tank on the side and just flicked a bit along the sides as a different colour. And now I'm into the real messy bit, using the light dust effects and some pigment. This colour's Europe Earth. It's not really. It's close to the colour of the wash I'm using. That's all. And don't use your good brushes for this, kids. I'm just putting it into the track, and then I'm coming in with the pigment. Like that, until I'm happy with how much is covering, and I'm only going to do it where you can see. So where it's flat on the ground, I don't do. What's the point? You're not going to see it, and it's less mess. Almost finished. I've added some stains around the fuel caps. I've put some smoke paint around the exhaust and all the gun barrels, and soft brush just blended it down. One of the last things to do, I'll get some polished metal pigment, and I'll there we go. Just show quickly how I'm doing it. It's just a little, like a micro brush. And I just rub it into the surface, and it'll shows up like the product says, polished metal. I'll just do that on the track feet where they make contact with the ground. I'll do that, and then I'm gonna put in the turrets, and I can tie on that palm tree I made up and put the driver in, and it'll be over. Alright, and we are done. I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. It was a huge build. It turned out to be a huge build by doing all the extras I did, by adding the lead wire for the grab rails. Would I recommend this kit? For sure, if you're into armour, especially if you like something different. Just keep in mind it's huge, massive vehicle. It's like I said, it's different. Obviously that it never existed, but sometimes it's good just to do something different, isn't it? The other thing I did, which added extra work and time, was the adding all the extra raised rivet. But for me, all this paid off, because now I've made something unique to myself. So it's not just out of box, I've done something different with it. So yeah, it was a fun build. The figure is really nicely molded for injection molding. I know I didn't set the world on fire with it, but like I said, I just do enough to get by for myself. I'm pretty happy with how he turned out too. So I'm going to add some still photos at the end of this. And thanks for watching. I noticed that not many did watch this build. I don't know if it's because of the subject matter or or what, but yeah, thanks for watching. Be back into the F4E build now that I've finished this off.